M2 MacBook Air versus M2 MacBook Pro, which one you should buy? To the point. Well, I made a video about the M2 MacBook Pro, which has now just been released, and I explained what might be the purpose of this laptop overall. And the more I think about it, the more the direct comparison between M2 MacBook Pro and M2 MacBook Air makes sense, mostly because these laptops are so similar in price, and MacBook Pro has also some benefits that you as a potential buyer may consider. So yes, in the beginning, most of the people I sincerely recommend either M2 MacBook Air, because hey, for most use cases, this will be the best laptop for you, with the refreshed design, with the powerful M2 chip, great battery life, great speakers, powerful macOS. It's gonna be a great laptop for most people. And for those who really wanna go more of a pro, enjoy that high-end hardware, there is that 14-inch MacBook Pro that has mini LED, 120Hz, M1 Pro or Max chip. It has more RAM, more storage. It is, in my humble opinion, probably one of the best products Apple ever released, and I absolutely love it. So these would be my recommendations. But somewhere in between, there is this M2 MacBook Pro, and it also has some benefits. It has that touch bar for fans of that technology, fans of that way of operating, directing brightness and stuff like that. It has that active cooling system, which is always a big point when it comes to comparison between non-fan MacBook Air and MacBook Pro. And on top of that, it has slightly longer battery life. But these are three main benefits of MacBook Pro that we're gonna discuss a little bit later. But now, going back a little bit to MacBook Air, this thing, as I said in the beginning, it has so many benefits, it's really hard to ignore that. First of all, is that redesign. Is that bare screen that now is pretty much equal or even slightly better than this of M2 MacBook Pro. It still has that M2 chip, it has new speakers, it has MagSafe. It's an overall a great laptop that will give you great capabilities. I can imagine a scenario when M2 MacBook Pro will be really so much better and M2 MacBook Air is just gonna be useless for that use case. Sure, M2 MacBook Pro, if you are gonna go for more sustained performance, long rendering of videos, of photos, and stuff like that, pushing this processor, long-term workloads, yes, this fan may be useful. But we gotta realize one thing. If you are really going to push that MacBook Pro and really go for pro use cases, shouldn't you really get that M1 Pro 14-inch MacBook? Again, this one has it pretty much all, has the processor, has the capabilities, has the display that just offers more compared to the 13-inch. But assuming you still wanna go for that, and it makes sense, maybe you just wanna upgrade RAM a little bit and really wanna push that MacBook Pro. Well, in my opinion, it maybe makes some sense if you just upgrade the RAM and don't upgrade the internal storage. You're still with that 13-inch base storage MacBook Pro and you just upload all of the files to the external disk. Then yes, you save $500 compared to the 14-inch MacBook Pro, assuming you choose the 16GB RAM option, and then yeah, it makes some sense. But again, you're still limiting yourself by going with the 14-inch MacBook Pro. But if that's your way, you probably know that you are the type of person that will take advantage of that. Because when it comes to the touch bar and longer battery life, it's not really that much of a big deal. Extra 2 hours of battery life compared to the MacBook Air aren't gonna make the world of a difference. When it comes to 18 versus 20 hours of battery life, I don't really think you're gonna feel that much of a difference. You gotta realize these 2 hours are when playing video. So when doing something heavier or just, browsing the web, it may be just an hour or maybe 45 minutes of extra battery life. And I don't think it's worth, going for the older design just for the battery life or just for the touch bar. That's why I like recommending MacBook Air so much, because it's futuristic, it's modern, it's still plenty fast. If you really don't want to go for extra power, hey, because it's a MacBook Air, you can just choose the base version, save $100 compared to the MacBook Pro, still have newer design, have MagSafe, have possibly better speakers, better front-facing camera, better microphones probably. So like it is such a great choice that M2 MacBook Air I would always recommend for majority of you, unless you want to go the cheaper way and you want to go for the M1 MacBook Air. I also made that comparison. But like if you are choosing M2 Air versus Pro, like the Air is the obvious choice for most people, unless you have really some specific use cases. You either love that touch bar, you either maybe just need that active cooling, you feel like yes, this burst sustained performance is gonna be something for you. Yes, that 2 hours of extra bar life are gonna make tons of difference for you in your use cases. Well, yes, then you have that option. As I said in my previous video, you have that alternative of M2 MacBook Pro that's gonna be decent. But for most people, I would either recommend M2 MacBook Air for basic use cases, and not only because that M2 chip there is still plenty powerful, even though it doesn't have active cooling, it's still plenty fast. It's gonna really handle most of the things you will ever throw at this. And if you're really serious about you know, pro workloads, then you have that 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros that have so many capabilities, even better speakers, even better newer design, more ports, processors that have more cores that are, you know, designed to handle all of the sorts of workloads you will ever want to do. They have more RAM, they have way better mini LED 120Hz screens. So these are the high-end options. But again, you wanna go for Pro lineup, you are decided to go with 30-inch MacBook Pro. Well, I assume you won't really go wrong with that, but I would still kind of recommend that M2 MacBook Air, unless, as I said, you really know that the features that MacBook Pro offers are really for you. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, I would appreciate if you smash the like button, smash the subscribe button for content like that and much more. And if you have any questions, if you are still confused about this whole MacBook situation, because let me tell you, it is very confusing with that, you know, 30-inch MacBook Pro right now. I didn't expect they would refresh that. So if you have any questions, just drop them down below. I will gladly answer that. Hope you really enjoy. Until next time.